Good morning and welcome to another episode of Drew's Book Reviews. So I decided to go without the glasses today because the glare from the light just reflects off the lenses and it drives me nuts when looking back at these videos. I haven't figured out how to get rid of that yet. Maybe one day I will. But anyway, now let's start talking some books. Today I am reviewing The Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett. So this is a historical fiction novel, definitely outside of my normal, typical genre of books that I read. Definitely, if you've been watching my channel, you know I read a lot of science fiction, fantasy books. So The Pillars of the Earth, definitely outside of that. This takes place in medieval England. So this is in the late 12th century England. It is about the building of a cathedral in the fictional town of Kingsbridge. So the whole basis of the story is how do we get this new church and cathedral built? We've got a few different characters that kind of all get woven together into the overall plot of the book. The prior Philip, he is the main character looking to build this cathedral. We got the character of Tom Builder and his children, Tom, who becomes the master builder of this project. And of course, we have the backstory or background story of England in midst of a civil war of succession. And the kings were different kings fighting and squabbling over who should, in effect, be the leader of England and actually get this throne. And of course, we have our villain, William Hamley, who is absolutely big part of the plot. He's the one that's really putting up the barriers and obstacles to getting this cathedral built. And of course, we have Tom Builder's family and how they ultimately play into this overall role. I think I'll kind of start off with some of my favorite storylines as far as characters go. We have the character Tom Builder. He loses his first wife, Agnes, to childbirth. He is a poor, starving, and destitute man, along with his family, who are desperately trying to survive and trying to find work. They find themselves traveling the countryside, desperately searching for work when Agnes, his first wife, dies while having a baby during childbirth. And he's poor, he's destitute, he's starving. His currently living children, Martha and Alfred, are starving. And he feels at this point that there's no other option but to abandon his newborn baby. So sorry, I should have said spoiler alert. So spoiler alert, my videos contain spoilers at times, so just keep that in mind. But anyway, he's put in this position where he has to make this very difficult choice to either give up the baby after losing his wife or keep the baby, and he's already starving. He can't even feed himself, let alone the two children he's left to care for without their mother. So he gives up the baby and goes to abandon the baby. And then we have the story of Alina. She is basically deposed daughter of an earl. William Hamley, our villain, basically takes over her household, kicks her out. He brutalizes her, does terrible, terrible, terrible things to her, and she is left poor and destitute to fend for herself, to eventually work her way back into a position where she can then care for herself and her brother Richard once again. And then there's the character of Ellen, who kind of becomes the second wife of Tom Builder. The the whole storyline behind that and how that happened uh, is, well, some people hate it, honestly. I neither hate nor dislike that, how they ended up getting together. But essentially, Ellen and Tom Builder end up having this mixed family. Ellen has her son Jack that she brings into this, and Jack and Alfred's rivalry is kind of a key component. Alfred being Tom Builder's other son, and Jack being Ellen's son. So this kind of step family is formed. The rivalry between the two sons, Alfred and Jack, definitely plays a pivotal role in the overall story arc. But what I really found with this book is it's not as good as the praise made it out to be. For me, at least, I didn't really find that I was thoroughly enjoying it that much. I don't think it was absolutely terrible, but I did find it to be rather rinse and repeat. type of scenario where we're going to build this cathedral, but now we can't, something because something bad happened. We found a solution. We started building again, but something bad happened. Rinse and repeat in that whole vicious cycle throughout the whole storyline. I did not find any of the characters, or all of the characters. I did not find them to be well developed. Like William Hamley, our villain, he's a very two-dimensional character. He doesn't have any development. He's just a flat character. His sole purpose within the story was to serve as this villain to continue to hamper the efforts of the building of the cathedral. Prior Philip almost seemed too ingenious, too smart, but maybe that's part of the allure of the character. I did enjoy him overall, but William Hamley was just not a character that had any development. The two characters that I think stood out most for me was Jack and Alina, and ultimately their love story, their relationship dynamic, and how it all started. Alina being the daughter daughter of an earl who was just deposed, treated terribly, brutalized, and basically her entire life was destroyed, and how she had to claw her way back to a good position. And then we have Jack, who learned from Tom Builder everything about building cathedrals. He went into exile himself, uh, and learned more and more about building, and came back to Kingsbridge to help ultimately finish the cathedral. That was the whole purpose of this story. But it is definitely a long one, 976 pages long, uh, epic about building a cathedral, but it just fell flat for me in so many ways. Um, Probably about 200 pages before the end, we could have easily ended the story right there. I think there was a prime opportunity to get rid of our villain, Richard, at that point. Or, sorry, Richard had an opportunity to get rid of our villain, William, at that point. And I'm not going to do any spoilers on that, because if you do want to go ahead and read it, then by all means, pick it up, read it, check it out. But for all the praise that it's getting, I just didn't feel that it lived up to that, because there were just so many ways in which it fell flat or didn't work. Or like I said, we could have ended the story 200 pages earlier and it would have been totally fine. And it just didn't work for me in that sense. Like, there's a last ditch effort to destroy Philip, who's the prior of Kingsbridge. Last ditch effort which seemed rather pointless. It didn't serve any purpose, near as I could tell. Uh, and just overall, it was a mediocre book. It wasn't the greatest read I've ever had, but it wasn't the worst either. Definitely not the worst. And for historical fiction, I don't know if it's good or it's bad. Like I said, I don't really read a lot of historical fiction, so I really don't know how that might compare to others. I mean, if you like historical fiction and cyclical type stories, then sure, this is a great book for you. On the other hand, I just found it was mediocre at best. So those are just my thoughts overall on Ken Follett's The Pillars of the Earth. Again, okay read, long read, not great, not terrible, just okay. So thank you so much for watching. Absolutely do like it. Love it when you watch. Like, comment, subscribe. Down below, of course, you could follow me on all my social media platforms. They will be linked in the description below. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. So those are my thoughts on The Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett. And we will see you next time. Until then, keep reading. Thanks for watching. Have yourself a great day.